My name is Mary Carnahan, and I am an e-learning resource specialist with the Indiana Department of Education, and I just want to welcome you to our webinar today about Nbc Learn. And for anyone who is new to this, you're in for a real treat. It is a fantastic tool, and you'll learn a lot from Michael here in a few minutes, but I want to do a few housekeeping things first. As you'll see on this introduction screen, if you will mouse over, if you don't have the chat window yet, if you'll mouse over the green bar at the top, that will open up a little toolbar at the top, and you'll want to click on chat, and that's where you'll be able to communicate with everybody. And after you open that chat window, be sure next to send to, it probably defaulted to my name, and make sure you click on that drop down and select everyone, so that everybody can see your questions and your comments as we go along. And please use that box to ask questions as you go, and we will, either Michael will answer those throughout the webinar, or we will answer them at the end if we don't get to your questions. And also share with other participants how you might be using NBC Learn in your classroom, or how you think you might use it. So again, make sure that you select everyone in that send to drop down, and so everyone can see your comments. A few other things that we have going on. We have a busy month this month as far as PD goes. We are doing a webinar every Thursday this month, starting obviously today with NBC Learn. Next week we'll be doing iPads in the primary classroom. The following week will be My Big Campus for Beginners, and the last week will be My Big Campus and NROC. So please feel free to come back and join us, and in just a second I'll show you where you can get details on those, how to connect to those webinars. And also we have our fall book group that's beginning on the 16th, and we are going to be reading Teach Like a Pirate, and we'll have a book club blog that will go along with that, and hopefully everyone will be able to come back and participate with that. And I see people are having problem with the sound, and I'm talking right into my phone. Hopefully maybe Michael will be louder than me, because really he's who you guys came to hear. So I will try to talk a little bit louder, and hopefully you guys can hear me. Next, our website. This is where you can find us and the information about those webinars that I just talked about. From the DOE homepage, you can click on Hot Topics and find us there. Also, I forgot to put our URL up there. I'll put it in the chat box, but it's just doe.in.gov/elearning, but I'll type that in the chat box. If you click on that professional development link, that's where you can find a link to all of our 21st Century Learning Lab webinars, as well as the book group. And also we have a Twitter chat every Thursday night, and tonight we'll be talking about 21st century learning or literacies and the NCTE framework for 21st century curriculum and assessment. So please feel free to join in to the Twitter chat tonight, and that's a great introductory Twitter chat. It's pretty low-key, and Michelle will walk you through that if you need that. So thank you to Joe. I see that he put the number information on there. It's much easier for the person not running the meeting to find that information, so thank you so much, Joe, for sharing that. Finally, I'm going to turn it over to Michael Levin, who is the Director of Technology and K-12 Client Operations with NBC Learn. And Michael, I'm going to assume you are going to unmute yourself, and I will turn the presentation over to you. And after Michael takes over as the presenter, everyone will need to open up that chat box again, because you will lose it when he opens up his presentation. So, and Michael, do you have audio? Let me try to unmute I think you might be this person. So can you talk now, Michael?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Yes, I can. Okay, and I'm going to mute someone else who was unmuted. And so again, go up to the green bar at the top, click on chat to open up your chat window, share questions and comments as we go. And Michael, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Mary. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the NBC Learn webinar. We're really excited to share this resource with Indiana educators. This is, I believe, maybe our third webinar presentation, but hopefully we've got lots of new folks in here that haven't used the resource yet, so excited to share this wonderful tool with all of you. Today's presentation is going to be focused on a few different topic areas. We'll start with a quick sort of welcome and introduction, go into some of the background on NBC Learn. We're going to quickly talk about how NBC Learn can be used for Common Core standards. And then we're going to go into actually an interactive demonstration of the resource. So each and every one of you will get a good sense how to navigate and how to search our resource and start to incorporate it into instruction. Time permitting, we'll go into some specific classroom examples. Otherwise, I'll try to incorporate them throughout the presentation. At the end of today's phone call, we'll pause for a few minutes to see if there's any questions and also just remind you about some of the tools that we have available to allow you to turnkey this in your respective school buildings and school corporations. So again, just real quickly, my name is Michael Levin, and I'm the Director of Technology Operations here at NBC Learn. I'm speaking to you from 30 Rockefeller Plaza in New York City, which is the headquarters for NBC News and NBC Learn. I sit here with about 25 of my colleagues who are dedicated to this project, NBC Learn, and my responsibilities include overseeing the technology platform that we're about to walk through, and the client services team, which is the team that works with thousands of school districts, colleges, and universities around the globe to integrate NBC Learn into instruction. So very excited to speak with you. I've been with NBC Learn since the very beginning, over 7 years ago when this project was first formed. So I'm one of the co-founders as well, and as you'll see, pretty passionate about this resource. So again, thanks to all of you for joining. Again, please use the chat window to type in any questions, and we'll address them during the presentation or at the end. I'd like to just start out with just a few sort of challenges that I hear from educators around the country when speaking with them about the challenges they face in the classroom to increase student success. And many of these are listed here. I may not go through each and every one, but a lot of it revolves around making history relevant to what students experience today outside the classroom, helping facilitate real-world connections to the subject matter, and helping answer the question that students so often ask, which is, why do I need to know this piece of information? Why is it going to matter to me outside of the classroom? And so that is something that we're going to talk about over the next few minutes, how NBC Learn can help to support. Getting students engaged in subjects or topic areas that they may otherwise not seem as important or relevant to them. We're going to talk about how NBC Learn can do that. To use materials to show broader themes and help make those direct links between past and present, to provide differentiated instruction to students and those who have very different learning styles or interests. And obviously, with many of the school districts are turning towards digital resources to enhance or supplement the traditional course textbook materials. And so NBC Learn will be a great, reliable, trusted, and current source for many of you to incorporate into your instruction as well. So in today's classrooms, we hear that teachers and educators are looking for ways to really create relevant, engaging, and personalized learning experiences with dynamic, real-world content that is trustworthy and timely. Given time is one of the most precious resources in your day, you don't have the time to go around scouring YouTube or the internet to find those rigorous materials. And so hopefully NBC Learn will serve as a very easy to access, easy to use, information right at your fingertips that are aligned to Common Core standards and aligned to the subject areas that each of you help to support. So that's really what we're hoping to talk about today. And I'm going to the next slide here, which really is some background on NBC Learn. As I mentioned before, it was formed roughly 6.5, 7 years ago as the education arm of NBC News. We realized that we were sitting atop one of the largest news archives, broadcast news archives in the United States. It's an archive that dates all the way back to the 1920s and 30s, over 6 million hours of film and videotape. And so the team here at 30 Rockefeller Plaza got together about 6 years ago. Back then the team was about 60 people. It comprised of educational consultants, teachers, professors, historians, video producers, technologists. And we started the effort of mining this 6 million hour archive, which spanned the size of 2 football fields, looking for instructional resources that were aligned to curriculum that teachers can use in the classroom, that would be easy to search, easy to view, and as we see over the next few minutes, that archive has continued to grow over time because NBC News is gathering content each and every day. And so in addition to the historic and archival information that you'll have access to, we are updating this resource every single day of the week, Monday through Friday, with current events materials, as you'll see in just a few minutes. And then finally, our team here has spent a lot of time developing original content, resources that you've never seen on a television broadcast that are exclusively developed for the NBC Learn resource. So we're going to take a look at that in just a few minutes. Okay. One of the really important things to mention as we get into the resource is that the NBC Learn videos tend to be short in nature. If you're looking for hooks in the classroom, ways to engage your students, to provide background information, to activate prior knowledge around a topic or subject, these resources are going to serve as a great tool to enhance your lessons, to be able to, in a very short and succinct way, provide that background information that won't cut into your instructional time, that are high quality, engaging, relevant, inspirational, and can be incorporated into your face-to-face classroom lectures, to be embedded and enhance your online courses, to help you flip your classrooms, lots of different ways. So we're going to talk about some of those examples in just a few minutes. But the resource today currently contains about 15,000 broadcast quality resources that have been aligned to 40 different topic areas, and as you'll see, are also aligned to the Indiana Common Core standards. So let's briefly talk about NBC Learn Indiana before we get into the website. This resource is a subscription resource. However, it has been sponsored and funded by the Indiana Department Office of E-Learning for starting last school year and now extended through the next 2013-2014 school year. The resource is available at school and at home. It is available 24/7. Today, we are actually announcing something really exciting. You're the first sort of audience to hear this, but we have made great strides to make the resource available on all sorts of mobile devices. And what you're about to see when I get into the website, we've actually made our state-of-the-art revolutionary cue card player accessible on iPads, iPhones, and Android devices, which we're really, really thrilled about. So I think for many of you who have one-to-one initiatives and incorporating more mobile devices, it's going to really help that content come alive and help you leverage the investments that you're making in many of those one-to-one initiatives. The resource is available for every teacher. It's accessible for your students, and it's also accessible to parents as well. And so we're really, really excited about this. The resources can be streamed. They can be downloaded offline. Really, really important for those of you who work in classrooms or in schools where the internet bandwidth may not be great at certain times of day. NBC Learn will help you get around some of those challenges and barriers. In addition to the webinar that we're providing here today, we do offer free and unlimited training webinars where you can sign up on NBC Learn. But this webinar will actually be recorded and posted up on the Indiana Office of E-Learning website and available to others who couldn't join today's session, or for you to share with your colleagues at your schools. And then most importantly is the technical support. As many of you know, it can be really frustrating when you don't have the right support as you're integrating technology into the classroom. And so we're there to help you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Just a quick email or a phone call away. We'll talk about how you can contact us towards the end of today's webinar if there's any questions. And we've seen great success of NBC Learn in Indiana so far. Over 100,000 minutes of videos have been watched to date. It's really been really impressive to see the adoption grow over time, and really appreciated for the support from the Office of E-Learning, and thank them for their support. And as you begin to use the resource, please let them know as well how it's been useful to you. So let's get back, keep moving along here. I'm going to quickly talk a little bit about some of the ways that NBC Learn can help in a number of different initiatives, and then quickly talk about the Common Core, and then we're going to drill right into the website. So that we'll be there in just a second. NBC Learn can help support a variety of initiatives, whether it's to help students become more proficient in technology, appealing to visual learners, project-based learning, getting students to that third and fourth level questioning, because the videos really tend to spark inquiry and discussion among students and really help develop that sort of deeper knowledge. Flipping your classroom, supporting ESL and ELL learners, implementing the Common Core we'll talk about shortly, as well as getting around internet access issues, as I mentioned earlier, and we'll talk about over the next few minutes. So let me just jump on to the next slide here. Let's keep moving. Many of the resources that we'll talk about, again, over the next few minutes are really geared around some of the original series that we're developing for NBC Learn, like the Science of NFL Football. Football season kicks off tonight, so if we've got some science and math teachers on the call, I think many of these resources will be great for you, but I'll show you where to find those in just a minute when we get onto the website. Just a few minutes to address Common Core standards, as the emphasis has really shifted the sort of need for a focus on more informational or nonfiction text, particularly as students progress through elementary, middle, and high school. NBC Learn is going to be a great tool to help support that in regards to allowing those students to really help develop that deep and interconnected knowledge through a vast archive of information that they will be very engaging to them. And we're going to take a look at it in just a few minutes. But really, with the Common Core standards, which really ask students to interact more with primary source text and engage in that process of articulating what text means, rather than just having a teacher simply tell them, these resources are going to be a really valuable tool to help accomplish that. If I just jump over to the next slide here, you're going to see a few examples of what we're talking about here. Let me just jump to the next one. As I take just a typical example here of one of the language arts standards on speaking and listening standards. This is just one example of taking a topic like immigration policy, where NBC Learn has a number of different resources that students can evaluate and find on this particular topic, as you see on the page. And students can use this information to evaluate, discuss their own ideas around immigration reform. And as I mentioned before, really help students get to that third and fourth level questioning. The videos really help to support that, as it brings up topics around human rights, moral issues that students may not always think about. And so we hear from teachers that these resources lead students to ask questions that turn into in-depth discussions on these types of topics and issues. So lots of different ways, and NBC Learn has really been a great tool to help teachers transition their lessons to meet the Common Core objectives. Okay, so enough of that. Let's jump into the website. I'm going to switch over to my browser, and as I do that, I'm going to start by going to one of the really, really important pages that you'll want to bookmark as part of this webinar session, and that is indiana.nbclearn.com. We've set this page up for Indiana educators as a starting point to access NBC Learn. So this is the place that you're going to want to go to the first time that you want to access the resource. On this website, you're going to find a lot of great resources to help you get started, including a video on the right-hand side of the page, which is actually a personalized greeting from Brian Williams, who is the managing editor and anchor of NBC Nightly News. He recorded a special greeting for Indiana educators. If you haven't heard it, I'd encourage you to play it maybe after the webinar or share it with your teachers or your staff meeting. It's a short, 2-minute, 3-minute video that he helped to record because he feels really passionate about this resource and really wanted to extend a warm welcome to so many of you. So I would encourage you to have a look at that video when you get a chance. There's also a button down here that allows you to access NBC Learn through My Big Campus if you're using that at your particular school building or school district. You can actually embed our resources into My Big Campus bundles, really extending the opportunities to do more online and collaborative activities around our content. So that's a really important partnership that we've created with My Big Campus. So we've basically created 2 different outlets for you to access this resource, either standalone, meaning directly to our website, or through My Big Campus. And just lots of other nice tools on this website, including some videos that were recorded, a video that was recorded by an educator at Evansville Vanderburg School Corporation, a history teacher who's using NBC Learn. He speaks in his own words about how he uses NBC Learn to teach the Great Depression. So lots of great resources here on getting to know NBC Learn, but we're going to dive right in. And so the first time you go to NBC Learn, we're going to go ahead and click on this big button right in the middle of the page, and that's going to take us into the NBC Learn website. The way that NBC Learn has been set up for Indiana educators is such that all you have to do is you'll see in the upper right-hand corner where it says Welcome Indiana Department of Education. What that means is that you're basically logged on. You don't need any passwords or registration codes. You're in. We've actually made it really easy and lowered the barrier to access for all of you to be able to get to NBC Learn really quickly. So from this, any school building, any computer within any school building, or from home, you'll be able to follow these exact steps, and you're into the website. You can browse, you can search, and you can start using all the different features without needing any special codes or passwords. So it's really, really easy. We wanted to make it simple and intuitive for all of you to use, as well as your students and parents. You'll notice there is a sign-in box and a register link in the upper right-hand corner. Those 2 links are very important. The Register Now link will allow each of you to create your own permanent account so that you don't have to always go to the indiana.nbclearn page. You can just go to nbclearn.com and sign in from there. But this ability to create your own individual account is very powerful because it will allow you to use the playlist feature that I'm going to talk about in just a few minutes. So again, I would encourage you to use the Register Now link to set up your own permanent accounts using your school email addresses or personal email address. It doesn't really matter. And that is really, really helpful to allow you to personalize the resource as we're going to take a look at those features in just a few minutes. So really, really easy. We're happy to answer questions about logging in throughout the session, so just type those into the chat box if I haven't answered them clearly enough. I'm going to go ahead and sign into the resource and to get started here with my own personal account so we can take a look at some of those really important features. So just bear with me while I type in our sign-in credentials. And once I sign into the resource, it's now going to personalize it, so it now knows who I am. And now it also gives me access to the playlist feature here at the top of the page. When you get to NBC Learn, this is it's the same functionality for teachers, for students, and for parents. So there's really only one way to use the website, and everyone has access to the same features. So it's pretty easy from that perspective. You'll see here we're at the home page, and that's where we are right now. So if you ever get lost, just click on the Home tab in the upper left-hand corner. To the right of that is My Playlist, State Standards, Help. In the upper right-hand corner is a box to change your settings, to sign out, and also a simple search box. So if you know exactly what you're looking for, you could go in and type in that topic or term in the upper right-hand corner. On the left-hand side of the page, you're going to see the various collections and subject areas that we help to support. And those subject areas are searchable. You can click into the different topics and subtopics. It works very much like a table of contents. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually go into some of those examples in just a few minutes to give folks a snapshot of some of the content that we have to offer. In the middle of the page, you're going to see our featured content carousel, which is scrolling various elements or different images. Our team is updating this carousel every day, Monday through Friday, with lots of timely resources, anniversary pieces, current events, special series as well. So it's a nice place to check back and see some of the featured content on our website. As I scroll down the web page, you're going to see a few other parts of NBC Learn.
If you needed one.
You're going to see in the middle of the page, on the left-hand side, is the NBC Learn monthly newsletter. One of the things that you can do with a personal account is to opt in for our monthly newsletter. It's a great way to stay up to date on all the greatest and latest features and new content that's being added to NBC Learn. We issue it once a month. It has great best practices for how to use the website. So it's a really handy tool. But if you missed it in addition or didn't get the email, just click here and you can go back and see some of the latest newsletter. In the middle of the website, you're going to see a number of other great resources, some of our original series. On the right-hand side of the page, you're going to see a brand new section to NBC Learn that just launched about a month ago called Campus Perspectives, which is a partnership with the universities and the college systems where they are actually contributing content to NBC Learn to inspire students about the research and the great things that you can do at a university. So really, really neat collection of resources. There's about 10 universities participating now, and it should be growing over time. Towards the bottom of the page, on the left-hand side, you're going to see our most watched videos of the week. Really a terrific way to sort of see what's trending at NBC Learn. And you can see our #1 video from the past week was the interview where Dr. Martin Luther King appeared on Meet the Press in 1963 prior to the March on Washington. You can watch that full interview here, and a number of other stories, primary sources from that time period as well. So that's a nice place to stay up to date on what's going on. Our NBC Learn in the Classroom section here is a place that's growing with teacher profiles. If we don't cover many of the examples today, you'll be able to go back here and see how other teachers are using NBC Learn. They share their playlists, share their lessons. It's a really neat collaboration space, and we would love to hear from any of you on the phone who have been using NBC Learn or start using it in your classrooms. We already have I believe one or two teachers that are featured in that section today from a few of the districts. So we'd love to hear from you. Just write us a note in the bottom of the website in our footer, and we'd love to hear from you. So let's get into the content. I'm going to start by going into our social studies collection, and I'm going to really try to hit on all the major subject areas here over the next 20-25 minutes before we wrap up, so you can get a flavor of the types of content that we have. If I go into something like social studies, it's a really neat way to sort of see how we've organized our content. You'll see the topics ranging from African American studies, American Indian heritage, economics, global studies, military history, religious studies, so on and so forth. And as I mentioned before, simply click on a topic area and it works very much like a table of contents, whereas you drill into that topic or a subtopic, the videos on the right-hand side of the page will begin to filter down based on your topic of interest. So let's say you were teaching early American history. I'm going to go into the topic on Jamestown, Virginia. And you'll see here we've got about 10 different resources to do with Jamestown, Virginia. So here are the 10 resources. You're going to see lots of different examples. We see some examples here on the second row, a story about the Queen Elizabeth coming to Jamestown to celebrate the 400th anniversary. Here's another story in the middle on the second row about archaeologists discovering evidence of the Jamestown settlement and the excavation process. If I scroll up to the top of the page here in the first row, you're going to see a story about Pocahontas and the Children Exchange. Because NBC News, as you would imagine, was not around during this time period, so it was a little bit difficult for us to cover the colonial era. So what we did was when we brought in the historians and teachers into NBC Learn, we decided to create mini documentaries that would bring this time period alive for students to be able to see, hear, feel what it was like to be there during that time period, as opposed to just reading it in a textbook. And so we brought in special historians and graphic animation and actually sort of depicted what that time period was about and what it was like to be there. So it's a really neat way. We've got about 500 of these mini documentaries in the social studies collection that you can begin to explore. So lots of really neat resources here. This brings me to probably one of the most important parts of this webinar, which is to tell you a little about this state-of-the-art revolutionary media player. It's one of the coolest media players or video players that you've ever seen, in that in addition to being able to sit back and watch the video, you can interact with the video in many different ways, and your students can do this as well. You'll see lots of great information and different links surrounding the perimeter of this media player that actually floats above your web browser. So I can move it around the page, and you'll see, starting in the upper right-hand corner, a few important links. First one is the red X. The red X will close the video out and return us back to the main page. To the left of that is a commonly overlooked but absolutely critical feature, and it's called the flip button. Remember that, the flip button. So watch what happens when I click on that flip button. The resource is going to flip over on its back, much like an interactive baseball card. All of the 15,000 resources will react in this sort of same way, or flip over in this same way. And for teachers or students, you can actually analyze some of the information about this particular story, everything from the general information, where the video came from, the air date, the event date in which it occurred, resource type, copyright information, and then there's that all-important clip length as well. In this case, it's 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Below that, you'll see a description of the resource, 1 or 2 sentence description, followed by a set of keywords. The keywords are really, really useful, particularly to help strengthen vocabulary skills. Students can use NBC Learn and the keywords for exploring related topics to help deepen their understanding. So if we were to click on Pocahontas, it will run a search inside of NBC Learn and show you all of the related content that we have on that topic. And then finally, as I mentioned before, NBC Learn can be used by students for research. It's a really great tool for that. And so one of the things that we've worked with librarians and media specialists to do is to incorporate this new feature called the Citation Generator. So students can actually select from any one of the 3 more popular citation formats, click on copy, and that citation will be copied to the clipboard, so the students can then paste that into their bibliography. So this happens to be a pretty popular feature, and excited to hear your feedback about it as well. Flipping the video back over to the front, you're going to see the transcript feature on the right-hand side of the window. And so if I go ahead and click on that transcript bar, it's going to slide out on the right-hand side of the page, and here's where you'll find a fully proofed and checked transcript for each and every resource. And so again, sort of turning back, relating this back to sort of those Common Core standards and informational text, all of these resources are informational text. They all have the full transcripts. Students can copy and paste information from the transcripts just by selecting the text. They can be printed out. And so so many of the teachers are using NBC Learn to help sort of support reading comprehension skills or strengthen reading comprehension skills, vocabulary, syntax, pronunciation. Lots of great ways that their people are using NBC Learn in the transcript feature. We also have closed captioning. So if you wanted to actually play back that video at a full screen on your projector or whiteboard in your classrooms, you can do that as well. And you can toggle on the closed captioning where the transcript will be synchronized with the video itself. That's really, really important for a number of different students, whether they're ESL or ELL learners, or if it's students with disabilities. The entire website has been certified for Section 508 standards to ensure that any assistive technology that you're using in your schools will help students use NBC Learn without issue. So lots of great accessibility features on the website, and you can read more about those in the footer. A few other features I'm going to just quickly cover before moving on because time is quickly running on us here. The Save feature is what will actually allow you to save the videos into playlists, an extremely powerful tool that will allow you to save time and build folders or virtual folders of videos that pertain to the topics that you're teaching or the lessons that you're teaching or the research that your students are doing. And those playlists are saved on the NBC Learn site. You can organize them, you can sort them, you can delete them, and you can share them as well. And so I'm really, really excited about that feature. And a lot of the teachers are telling us about some of the collaboration that's happening around sharing of videos and sharing of playlists, and I'll try to talk about that a little bit. You can also take your own notes on each video as well. Much like one would add notes into the margin of a textbook, you can annotate your own notes on each video as well, and those notes also get added to your account. We also have a sharing tool. As I mentioned before, we really do encourage collaboration and sharing. That basically means that you can use NBC Learn videos with all the other great technology that you already have in your classrooms, whether it's PowerPoint or whether it's smart notebook lesson software, whether you're using Edmodo, Facebook, Twitter, MyBigCampus. There's all different ways that you can incorporate, embed, and share these resources in a variety of different ways, and we provide about in option 1, a link to about 500 different social bookmarking sites that you can push a link out to. Or if you simply just want to copy the link, you can do that as well in option number 2. You'll see a print option button, print option as well, that allows you to actually print the videos out, and all the corresponding metadata as well as your notes can get printed out as well. And then there's also a very, very important feature called the download feature, which I alluded to earlier. This will allow you to download our videos offline to be used without an internet connection. And I highly recommend this for those of you who are going to be using NBC Learn in live classroom or live lecture settings. Download the videos on a thumb drive at your home and bring them into your computer in the classroom or before school starts or during a planning period. I highly recommend it. It will help you be more confident to use our resources, not be dependent on the school's bandwidth at a certain point in day. It's a really, really important feature to help you get around some of those challenges. So I will point you to some extra resources at the end of today's webinar that will guide you through some of the more advanced features of how to download and embed into PowerPoint and some of those other places. Okay, I'm going to skip over the standards link just for a moment. We're going to come back to that in just a second. I just wanted to go back to the top of the page. I'm going to back out of social studies real quickly and go back out. Before I go out of social studies completely, I just want to jump into something like government and politics. Government and politics is a huge collection as well, but the thing I wanted to point out here, as it relates to adding relevancy to students' lives, this is where we've taken a topic like the U.S. Constitution, where we've broken down that Constitution by article, by section, by amendment, and then aligned specific resources to that particular topic area. So if I went into something like Amendment 4, Search and Seizure, on the right-hand side of the page are 20 29 different examples as recently as last week of how that particular constitutional principle is being put into effect today and over the past several hundred years. So lots of real-world examples ranging from some of the debate around the stop and frisk policy to the rights of the TSA when we're at the airports to Supreme Court decisions on drug testing of student athletes or searches of student lockers, a really neat way to help sort of facilitate those connections for your students. Going back out to the top of the page, I'm going to skip around a little bit here. I'm going to jump into current events. You'll see right on our homepage an example of a current event where President Obama made a statement on Syria. That was up on our website the very same day that the President made those comments. And so we are really working hard to pull content from our news broadcasts and get them up onto the website as quickly as possible. Here you'll see for the week of September 1st, this week alone, where we've added over 22 different videos across a range of different topic areas, whether it's the crisis going on in Syria, there's a story here about auto sales and their double-digit growth, to a whole range of topics. Here's a really neat story I'm sure many of you heard about, Diana Nyad, the 64-year-old swimmer who swam from Miami to Cuba. All sorts of different topic areas ranging on health and wellness issues to science stories, language arts, interviews with authors who have been on the Today Show, all sorts of amazing stories, and those get added into NBC Learn. What's really important for all of you to understand is that when NBC Learn puts videos into this website, we have gone through a very, very careful and rigorous vetting process to ensure that every single story that lives on NBC Learn is, 1, K-12 safe and appropriate, 2, is copyright cleared for your use so that you can download and embed them as you so choose. And 3, what's really, really important is that you should have the confidence to know that when you go to use these videos that they're going to be there tomorrow or the next day or the next semester, because once we put videos on our website, we never take them down. So if you've ever had that frustrating experience of finding a video on some internet site where you weren't quite sure who put it there, you grabbed it, went to use it, and then try to use it again and the video was gone, you won't have to worry about that here at NBC Learn. I do also want to mention something about foreign language. I believe there was a question about that earlier, and it came up in our last call as well. One of the new additions to NBC Learn in the past year is that we've been adding resources in Spanish from Telemundo, which is a new feature which may come in handy for many of you. Those are found in our current events section. We also add them into our Hispanic Heritage collection. One of the things that we haven't done yet is we haven't taken all of the English videos and converted them to multiple languages, but that's something that we're thinking about and how we might go about doing that. But many of the schools that have asked about that, what they've done is they've actually used our print feature where they print out all the bibliographic information and then use Google Translate to translate the transcript as well. So some workarounds around that, but hopefully that addresses the question on multiple languages. And we'll keep you posted on any additional developments as well. Backing out to the main collections, I'm going to jump into our science collection hopefully we've got lots of science and math teachers out there, starting with science. Science ranges from lots of different topics, from agri-science, archaeology, astronomy, biology, chemistry, computer sciences, environmental sciences, forensic sciences, and then you see a section down at the bottom about lives and careers in science as well. If I went into a topic like, let's go into physics, you're going to see it then broken down by various topics. In the middle of the website, you're going to see a few examples of some of our recent original series that launched a few weeks ago called The Science of Golf, where we follow U.S. golfers, amateur golfers, and scientists from the National Science Foundation and explain things like the physics of the golf swing or the evolution of the golf club, friction, kinematics, displacement, buoyancy. Lots of really fun, engaging ways to take these complex topics in physics or in math and break them down for students to better understand and relate to. So lots of great stuff here in physics and across the whole science area. One of my more recent favorite stories is a current event that we added into our section on forensic sciences. The second story here at the first row is a story on the DNA tests that are now being conducted to prove the real identity of Mona Lisa. And so there's some pretty neat sort of investigation stuff that you can do there, CSI type of things that you can use with this video. So lots of great resources here under science. I'm going to move on just due to time constraints here, and I'm going to jump into language arts. Language arts, really terrific collection of resources. I'm going to first quickly talk about some of the videos that I think would appeal to many of the elementary teachers we have on this phone call. And that includes an original series that we just launched, I believe, last year called Writers Speak to Kids. And again, tying back to Common Core, but these videos are 17 young children's book authors talking about the creative writing process. It's narrated by Jenna Bush Hager from the Today Show, where we brought in these authors to NBC News, or NBC Learn here at Rockefeller Plaza, and talked to them about the creative writing process. What inspires them to write? How do they get their ideas? How do they develop their plots and characters? It's a really amazing story to see a set of videos, and I think you'll really enjoy them as well. For the more young adult authors, we also have a number of really terrific interviews with folks like Arthur Conan Doyle talking about Sherlock Holmes, interviews with Toni Morrison, Kurt Vonnegut, and other well-known authors that many of your students will be familiar with. So it's a nice way to maybe pair together books that you might be reading in your classes with these author interviews as well. Throughout NBC Learn, you're going to see, whether it's in language arts or science or math or social studies, where we've really tried to make a concerted effort to give students career options, or to think about career options by hearing people speak in their own words, and you'll see these types of videos spread throughout the website. In this area, you're also going to find some really terrific resources on basic writing, writing styles, research and citation. Basic writing, you'll find lots of great videos on grammar. Some of these are original videos that we put together on common errors in English usage, like media versus medium, capital with an O versus capital with an A. Some really neat resources here that many of the language arts teachers will hopefully enjoy. Let me jump back out to the top of the page. Going to keep moving along here. Going to jump into math and statistics. A really terrific collection of resources ranging from topics around measuring and distribution, geometry, data collection, graphs, presenting numbers. I'm going to quickly jump into geometry for just a second and show you an example of a story called hockey geometry, looking at all the different shapes in a hockey rink. Story on vectors. Here's a current event on junk mail becoming a treasure for the U.S. Postal Service. And particularly with these math resources, because math is such a really difficult topic to sort of bring in video content for and sort of demonstrate those real-world connections, we've started a project last year to bring in activities for many of the math resources where we have questions that are paired together with the videos. This is somewhat of a pilot project with several hundred math resources. We're looking for feedback from the math teachers of whether you think this is useful or not, and then hopefully maybe expand this to other subject areas as well. So we'll look forward to folks' feedback on this. Jumping it back out to the top of the page, health and wellness. NBC Learn will also be a really terrific source of information to deal with topics like food and nutrition. These are initiatives or topics that are being dealt with in all schools. You can use our videos as part of your communication strategies, either with students or with parents, topics on food and nutrition, physical activity and fitness, personal health and hygiene, lots of great resources as well. Let me jump back out. Mental health. is a really great section to deal with more sensitive topics like bullying, which is obviously a big initiative. Lots of great resources here to do with bullying, around forming healthy relationships, around managing stress, coping with grief. Lots of terrific resources here to help in some of those topic areas. So please have a look through, and I think you'll find them really, really interesting. Jumping back out to the top of the page, as we get towards closer to the end of today's webinar, I want to make sure I cover a few other things. Performing in visual arts, another terrific section of content to bring the arts into the classrooms, particularly where those programs have been cut over the past several years. Lots of great resources in this section. One of my favorites is under music. We have a really neat video here called Singing Around the Web. It's about a virtual choir where kids from all ages are able to sort of use the internet and use the web to join a virtual choir with people from around the world. It's an amazing story, and I encourage you to have a look at that one. It's one of my favorites on the website. Let me jump back out to the top of the page, keep moving. Business and financial literacy is particularly at the high school level. If you're teaching economic fundamentals, personal finance, lots of great ways here to bring entrepreneurial topics into the classroom, or to look at other topics around starting your own business, saving for college, getting your first credit card, dealing with debt. Lots of great resources as well. Okay, so before we wrap up, just a few final things. Original NBC Learn collections is where you're going to find some of our terrific resources around the original series, the stuff that doesn't air on broadcast. Some of the most popular series in NBC Learn are found here. They're also found in science or math or history or language arts, wherever they're most appropriate to. Science of NFL Football, one of the most popular series to date at NBC Learn, and tonight is the start of football season. Great way to sort of pair this video together for your students either tomorrow or next week as the football season kicks off, to help them understand things like how math and science are relevant to the game of football, the Pythagorean theorem, where we look at the angle of pursuit and how that relates to the game of football as a defender is running down the field to tackle a running back. Really awesome videos. I think you'll enjoy them as well. The Science of Summer Olympics launched last year, looking at technology and engineering as it's used at the Olympics to allow these athletes to compete at the highest levels. Chemistry Now, if we have any chemistry teachers out there, lots of great resources on the everyday applications of chemistry. Some of my favorites are the chemistry of the cheeseburger, where we break down the cheeseburger into many of its elements as well. Okay, so the last two things I want to mention, I've seen a couple questions being asked about searching by grade level. So that's where I'd like to talk a little bit about the standard search. In addition to searching by topic, you can also search by Indiana Common Core Standards or by Indiana State Standards. So we have them both listed up here as well. If we wanted to search by grade level, this is where you would come to see how we have aligned our resources to the Common Core Standards by subject and by grade level. What this tool will do, and it's a very powerful tool, is it's going to bring up all of the Common Core Standards for that particular grade level, and wherever you see a green check mark on the right-hand side of the page, that will basically take you to the page of videos where we have linkages to those specific standards. So again, clicking on the green check mark will then bring up that list of videos that you can quickly get to just by clicking on any one of these blue hyperlinks. So it's a really neat way to search by standards. Another cool way to do that is if you happen to come across a video. So let's say we were looking at that video. I'm going to go back to the Science of NFL Football video on the Pythagorean theorem. If we wanted to see what standards this video helps to support, particularly with Common Core Standards, let's go ahead and click on that standards link. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring up all of the grade levels and standards that this video helps to support. So it's a neat way to see across all grade levels, across all, particularly in math or physics, where this video helps to support. So it's a really, really neat tool. I would encourage you to use it. Let us know your feedback. But that's really the best way that you can sort of see how the resources align to the standards and by grade level. Okay. Great. Okay. Again, just as a reminder, the question about standard search, how do you get there? Again, I'm going really fast, so sorry for that. At the top of the page, you're going to see our state standards button, and that's how you can get to that page where you can search by state standards. It's going to open up in a separate window, and that's when you'll be able to conduct your search as well. And again, lots of neat ways to do that. We have some tutorials, which I'll remind you about right at the end of today's webinar. The final way to find content is by searching by topic area. So let's go ahead. I'm going to search for Indiana, and let's see what happens when we search for Indiana in the upper right-hand corner of the page. It's going to come back with about 59 different resources to do with Indiana. So as I scroll down the page, we'll see all different types of resources. We can filter our searches on the left-hand side by using compound logic. If we scroll down the page, this is one of my favorites, actually. Indiana first graders celebrate random acts of kindness. This is about Terre Haute, Indiana School District and Sprack attack. So really cool video, really awesome stuff that's going on there, and how it's spread from the first graders, the elementary school, all the way up to the high school. And some of the this actually I think is in our health and wellness collection, and really I use this at all my training. So great job there. All right, so let me jump back to the home page. We have just about 2 minutes left, so I just want to mention a few things in closing, and then see if there's any questions. If you have any questions at any time while you're using NBC Learn, use the Contact Us button at the bottom of the web page. It'll take you to a page where you can contact our team. Remember, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We are there to support you. We take technical support very, very seriously. I would encourage you to write us a note if you ever have a problem. Comments and suggestions. We get comments all the time. I just got an email last week from a teacher at Glenwood Leadership Academy at Evansville, Vanderburg School Corporation, asking for videos on digital citizenship. So I sent, our team actually pulled together a playlist of videos for her to use in her unit this week. So please don't be shy. Please write us your suggestions, your ideas, your feedback, how you're using NBC Learn, what you like, what you don't like. If you're looking for a specific story, you can note that here as well. Okay. I'm going to turn back to my PowerPoint here at the end, just so we can quickly just mention a couple things in closing for any contact information. So just bear with me while I pull up the final slide here of the day. And again, as a reminder, this entire webinar will be recorded for anyone who wants to access it. I really would encourage many of you to share this resource with your school districts. We're just sort of been getting the word out, and really could use your help to share it and keep the resource in the state. So please, here is all the information that you'll need to use to get started with NBC Learn. Again, it's indiana.nbclearn.com. We have a wonderful set of tutorials at www.nbclearn.com/tools, including videos on how to download videos offline, how to use the state standards feature. Lots of great resources there as well. Our Twitter, Facebook, and Moto pages are listed as well as my contact information. So I'm going to turn it over to Mary at this stage to see if there's any questions that we haven't addressed yet from the chat window. But I really appreciate everyone's time today. Hope you enjoy the resource. Help spread the word, and thanks for all the great work you're doing in the classroom. So, Mary, back to you.
Thank you, Michael. Now you can take a breath. Thank you so much. I think that I did not see any other questions, so everybody just take this quick little minute, and if you do have a question, please send it in through the chat box. But yeah, this is, every time I've sat through this webinar 4 times, and every time I sit through it, I get more and more excited about this tool. And I just have to share a personal story. My husband is listening to the webinar today and will probably laugh, but my son came home yesterday so excited because his teacher had showed them 2 videos from NBC Learn, and he had heard about it because I had talked about it, and she had heard about it at the Evansville eRevolution conference. So she already brought it back, and my son recognized it from seeing it at home. So I was pretty excited to hear that. So please take it back to your classroom, and I did also see someone who was going to share it with teachers in her school next week during a PD session. So, don't only take it back to your classroom, but definitely share it with other teachers at your school, and share with them how you think that you're going to use it, and definitely share your experiences with it. I don't see any other questions coming through, so I did share the link just up a little bit ago in the chat window to our 21st Century Learning Lab website. And if you click on the blog link at the top of that website, that will take you to every single webinar that we've done over the past, I believe, 4 years, 3 or 4 years of doing these monthly or sometimes weekly, like this month, these webinars. And I will have this webinar archived by the end of next week. So that will be there hopefully by next Friday. So I believe that's it. I don't see any other questions coming in. So again, as Michael said, if you have questions about NBC Learn as you're using it, use that contact us link. They are phenomenal about getting back to you with answers to your, either technical questions or just, when you're looking for specific resources. So it is a little after 5, so we're right on time. So I will say a big thank you to Michael, again, for sharing this phenomenal resource with us. And I will sign off from the DOE. So thank you very much, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.